Good evening. I can't even fake it. Good evening, everybody. Ben Caplan here. The very first episode of the Ben Caplan Show in the year 2024. Thank you for joining me here, either live on TikTok or if you're watching on my YouTube channel later. It wasn't a very happy new year for Philadelphia. The Eagles kind of ruined that for all of us. I think if you're an Eagles fan, your new year wasn't as happy as you wanted it to be, specifically because of the Eagles. And honestly, I don't even know where to start with the Eagles. And I don't even know if I can say anything that hasn't even been said already. The offense, it's the same problems every week. The defense just gets worse and worse. It doesn't seem to matter who's playing the calls, who's calling the plays, I should say. So just a lot to go over with that game. So I appreciate you joining me here. Again, this is the Ben Caplan Show, episode number 7, I think. Here in my very first episode of 2024. So I appreciate you joining me. And it's really just all Eagles. And it's just, what else can we say about the Eagles and the offense and just the terrible, atrocious, predictable play calling by Brian Johnson? Like, I feel like a broken record here. I really feel like a broken record here. How many weeks am I going to say I am sick and tired of these QB runs and these wide receiver screens? How many times do I have to say it? Because it's all he seems to know. I don't know why Brian Johnson can't evolve out of the wide receiver screen and Jalen Hurts QB runs. It is maddening. And I don't want to keep saying this week in and week out, but I'm not even the only one saying this. He is just nothing but wide receiver screens and QB runs. And I don't know why he can't evolve and he can't learn that this is not working for him. And as an Eagles fan who is powerless to do anything about the play calling other than bitch and complain about it, it's incredibly frustrating because I know we all know the wide receiver screens haven't worked for weeks. We all know the QB sneaks, the QB runs with Jalen Hurts. Yeah, he might pop off 1 10-yard run a game, but that's really about it. They are not working. Offenses are keen on this. And he's predictable. Like I've been saying for weeks, Brian Johnson's play calling is incredibly predictable. Got a comment. The wide receiver screen on 3rd and long was atrocious. It was terrible. It was such a coward's play. And why was it to Kenny Gainwell? You have 2 1,000-yard receivers and a 1,000-yard rusher on your team, and you design a wide receiver screen on 3rd and 20 for Kenny Gainwell? Not A.J. Brown, not Devontae Smith, not DeAndre Swift. Kenny Gainwell. Why? Why is that your play? I feel like I scream, why is that your play? Like 10 to 15 times a game because it makes no sense sometimes. And by the way, appreciate the comment. If you would like to join in on the conversation, please leave me a comment here right down below. Appreciate it. If you're just joining us, I'm just getting started about the Eagles game against the Arizona Cardinals. The embarrassingly terrible loss to the Arizona Cardinals. Excuse me. I mean, losing is bad enough, but just the way the Eagles keep finding ways to lose is amazing. It is just amazing how many times the Eagles find new ways to lose. And it's a little hard to get the words out because the Arizona Cardinals are 4-12. They were 3-12 going into that game yesterday. They had a bottom third offense in the NFL, and the Eagles could not get them to punt one time. I mean, even the one positive defensive play for the Eagles was really just an Arizona Cardinals miscue. They tried audibling, the wide receiver didn't see it, and boom, it was an easy pick for the Eagles, and a great return. But that was off of an Arizona mistake. It wasn't even because the Eagles played so well or they drew up a scheme so well that confused Kyler Murray. It was a Kyler Murray miscue, the one positive play the Eagles had. So, and I think the only other team to do that to them this year that didn't have to punt against the Eagles were the Cowboys and the 49ers and maybe the Cowboys. And those are good offenses. So it's like, all right, maybe those offenses, you don't want to give a pass, but it's a little more understandable than this freaking Arizona Cardinals team, which is a bottom third offense in the NFL. Just embarrassing. Got some more comments here. Brian Johnson should never call football plays at any level, even like middle school ball. I mean, you're not wrong. What he's doing is just so predictable. And again, The Eagles all season have seemed to have trouble getting touchdowns or getting first downs late in the game to close games out, to extend leads. And again, that's what happened against the Cardinals. I'll go into that last series in a little bit, but the point I'm trying to make is I think it's because Brian Johnson's play calling becomes so predictable by the end of games, the Eagles aren't able to move the ball anymore because teams know what is happening. So, it's either going to be a wide receiver screen or a QB run. I mean, you have a 50-50 chance. Oh, hey, Jerry, what's up? Appreciate you watching me tonight. Appreciate everyone watching me tonight here on TikTok. Please make sure you follow me here and you go click that link in my bio to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do these shows every day live here on TikTok, and I upload the replays to my YouTube channel. But back to the Eagles and back to the terrible play calling by Brian Johnson. We're just getting started because I said this earlier, but I feel like I am a broken record. Every week I come on here and I say I am sick and tired of these wide receiver screens and these QB runs with Jalen Hurts. And week after week, Brian Johnson refuses to evolve and just wants to do wide receiver screens and QB runs with Jalen Hurts. It's uncreative, it's predictable, and eventually he's going to get Jalen Hurts killed out there with the amount of times he has him run the ball. And it's simply not effective. I mean, how could he not see that this offense is not effective, but he's still calling the same game plan, time in and time out? He's not learning. Why are the rest of us able to see this except for him and the rest of that coaching staff on the Eagles? I mean, this problem, I know the playing of the players has been terrible, but the coaching is just as much a problem, and Brian Johnson is at the top of that list for me. So I don't know about you. Let me know what you think in the comments down there. I got some more comments. The Ant says the Eagles are a letdown loss to a 4-12 team. They are defense coach. Their defense's coaching is so bad. Their offensive coaching is so bad. Their fundamentals are so bad. Everything about them right now, everything about this Philadelphia Eagles team is so bad. And there's no hope. I have no hope in this Eagles team. Like up until this game on New Year's Eve, I was saying I think the Eagles' ceiling is winning a home playoff game. I don't even think the Eagles are getting out of the first round now. That's how bad it is. That's how terrible we've become and just spiraling the Eagles have become. I mean, I don't have confidence the Eagles are going to get out of the first round. I am not even so confident the Eagles can beat the Giants next week. I was saying I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles went 1-1 over the last 2 weeks. But I was saying that I think the loss could possibly be to the Giants. There was no way I had the Eagles losing this game, no matter how bad they were playing. But I guess I should have known better. I guess we all should have known better. Here we go. What are people saying in the chat? I agree with the offensive play calling, but the bigger issue is the linebackers. I mean, the linebackers, are bad. The defensive line isn't getting that pass rush anymore. The secondary can't seem to cover anybody. It's the defense. Pick whatever you want on the defense. There are so many problems with that defense right now. Thanks, Jerry. Kim, what does Kim say? Cardinals whooped the Cowboys earlier in the season. Do the Cardinals just have it out for the NFC East? It's funny you say that. The Cardinals did really lay into the Cowboys, and we all laughed at them earlier this season. Granted, that was in Arizona. It could be because of the coaching, because they're familiar with the NFC East. They're familiar. Who's definitely familiar. Shane Steichen is definitely familiar with the Eagles. We can say that. And maybe he's familiar, and he's familiar with the Cowboys too. So that maybe gave him the advantage. That's a interesting thought there, Kim. And I am too mad. And I appreciate the comment about asking about the Phillies off season, but I'm just too mad at the Eagles right now to talk any Phillies. Don't worry, we're going to start talking Phillies more and more as we get deeper into January and February, because I feel like the Eagles are going to be out of it very, very soon. So we'll be talking Phillies soon enough. But for now, I'm just here to get all of my anger and frustration about this Eagles game against the Cardinals, because this is my first show of the new year. I didn't have a chance to do this yesterday, so I'm doing it today. And Happy New Year, everybody, and I appreciate you joining me here in the new year. If you're just joining me, this is the Ben Caplan Show. I do the show daily, weekdays on TikTok. You can watch all my old episodes on my YouTube channel, so please make sure you follow me here and you go to my YouTube channel, click the link in my bio, and you can subscribe to it there. Kim says 31 points should win you a game. The defense was a nightmare. Absolutely. If you put up 31 points, like if you were to tell me at the beginning of the season, Ben, you're going to put up 31 points against the Arizona Cardinals. Would you take that? Yes, absolutely, because 31 points should be more than enough to beat a terrible 4-12 Arizona Cardinals team. I don't care that Kyler Murray is the quarterback. 31 points should be enough, but it wasn't because this defense can't stop anybody. This defense can't stop anybody. What are they ranked? I like to check the Eagles' rankings after each game, defensive rankings, because it just gets worse and worse. So let's see what they are right now. The Eagles are, in terms of defense, let's find it here. Well, opponents' points per game, they are 29th right now. Opponent points per game. That's not good. Their opponents they're 29th in overall points. They're 23rd in yards given up. So yeah, just the Eagles are easily a bottom third defense, probably a bottom 5 defense. It is, and did anybody see Brandon Graham? Speaking of the defense, did anybody see Brandon Graham after the game? I'm definitely paraphrasing here with what he's saying, but he was asked if he was worried about this team, and he's like, "No, I'm not worried. The NFL's week to week. This defense can still click." Brandon, are you serious? I love you, but you're not worried? How are you not worried about this defense? You're in it every day. I'm worried, and I'm looking in from the outside. There's clearly a problem that you don't want to acknowledge. And that is very frustrating as a fan to see, we all love you. We love the positivity for the most part, but sometimes you got to just call it like it is and say, yeah, I am worried. There's a problem with this defense right now. We're not stopping everybody, but he's not doing that. Did anybody else see that? Oh my goodness. I can't with this team. Let's see. The chat is popping off. Yeah, 31st for lots of stats. Yeah, the Eagles are 31st. Bottom third in defense for almost everything. And it's just incredible that at one point this team was 10-1 and we were talking to first round bye and going to the Super Bowl. Now this team is not getting out of the first round. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. I appreciate it. And it's not just that quote by Brandon Graham. There have been a lot of quotes by the Eagles that have really just bothered me. Like during the game, coming out of halftime, Pam Oliver spoke to Nick Sirianni, and she asked him about Arizona's running game, and his response was, "Oh yeah, well Arizona's not going to keep that up for the second half." No adjustment, no nothing, just, oh yeah, Arizona can't possibly keep up this pace the way they're at right now. And then Arizona goes and proceeds to put up 200 plus yards of rushing against you. So it's just this lackadaisical, just no sense of urgency by anybody on the team. I don't want to say anybody. I'm sure there's people who I'm just not seeing that have a sense of urgency. But man, oh man, it's the way they're losing. It's the way they're responding to losses. I can't stand it. I really can't stand it. What did AJ? At least AJ said, "Yeah, I'll take the fine, but I ain't saying shit." But that says a lot. I mean, AJ Brown and Nick Sirianni aren't even talking apparently. Hold on, let's see what else is going in the comments. I hate to hit on my home team, but we're definitely one and done in the playoffs. Yeah, that's how it feels right now. I mean, I'm not confident this team can win a playoff game. I mean, they're not going to get a home playoff game because for the Eagles to win the division now, they need the Dallas to lose to the Commanders next week, and the Eagles still need to beat the Giants, which who knows if that's going to happen. But I don't think Dallas is losing to the Commanders. I don't think anybody is. So yeah, I don't see. I mean, the only chance they have to win a road playoff game would be against an NFC South team. But honestly, I don't even know if the Eagles can do that. The way they're playing right now, it's so bad. Ethan says Sirianni will be fired. I don't know if he's going to be fired. It's kind of hard to fire a coach who took you to the Super Bowl and then takes you back to the playoffs the following year. But I mean, it's probably have a short leash after that. I mean, Sirianni's going to have to make some coaching changes because coaching is a huge problem on this team right now. This roster is too stacked to be playing this bad. Our defense is getting old. We have bench players that would play better than these guys. They're burned. I don't think so, Ant. There's been so many injuries and so many people in and out of the lineup. Lots of people that have had a chance to play. So I don't think it's just that people aren't getting their shot. People have gotten their shot, and no one's really stepping up. It doesn't matter who they put back in there. I mean, Avonte Maddox just came back. Incredibly, he came back from a torn pectoral muscle, but that didn't make any difference. And I even asked that last week. Is it really going to make that much of a difference if Avonte Maddox is back in the lineup? And we just saw it. No, it made zero difference. What else we got? Appreciate everyone jumping in on the comments. If you're just joining us, this is the Ben Caplan Show. I do the show daily live on TikTok, and I upload everything to my YouTube channel. Tampa would win the turnover battle in a playoff game. I mean, that's to be maybe, I don't know. I mean, the Eagles beat Tampa already, so maybe they can go on that, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like, I have a few friends who are confident that if the Eagles do play Tampa in the first round of the playoffs, the Eagles can go to Tampa, win a playoff game. I'm not that confident. They're showing no signs that they can win a game. You know, they've shown signs of taking leads. The Eagles were up 21-6 in that game at halftime. You should win that game. If you're a good team, you win a game you're up 21-6 at halftime at. But no, the Eagles let a mediocre offense just go drive after drive, chunk play after chunk play, down the field, down the Eagles' throat. You know, so many times this season I'm complaining about the Eagles' performance on third down. And yeah, the Eagles weren't great on third down again. I'll get the exact numbers in a second, but the last few drives for the Cardinals, they weren't even getting to third down. It was first down, second down, big play after big play. It was just so embarrassing to watch as an Eagles fan. And I'm sure, you know, non-Eagles fans loved it, but for us, it was brutal. All right, let's see what we got. We can start a game but can't finish. Absolutely. I said on my last episode of 2023 that to me, the overall theme for the Philadelphia sports year was not being able to finish. And using the Eagles in the Super Bowl and the Eagles as of late as an example. So how just fitting, again, is it that the Eagles had a fourth quarter lead, another fourth quarter lead against a team under 500 that they couldn't put away. They were up on the Jets. They just needed to get a first down. They couldn't, blew the game. They were up on the Seahawks, needed to get a first down, couldn't, blew the game. The Eagles just needed to make it's not that the Eagles needed to make a first down this time. They needed to make a defensive stop against a 4-12 team, and they couldn't do it. This defense is so bad. It's so bad. Here we go. Amber says, I'm ready to give up watching football. I think it's time for a competitive bobsledding. Hey, competitive bobsledding can be fun to watch. But Amber, every year I say to myself, I'm done watching football. I'm done with the Eagles. And yeah, I come back every single time. So I'm sorry, but I do not believe you. And I don't believe any Eagles fan that's saying, yeah, Philly sports is way too stressful. Yeah, Philly sports is way too stressful. I feel the worst for my wife because she has to put up with me screaming and cursing all the time. And I feel just absolutely terrible about it. But my blood pressure is going through the roof, especially this season. Haven't heard from Jordan Davis. Got rid of Hargrave. Our coaching is horrible. I don't know. The Eagles didn't get rid of Hargrave. He signed elsewhere. The coaching's been bad. The playing has been bad. It's been bad all around. There's lots of blame to go around for why this Eagles team is doing how it's doing this season. Steve says they need a solid new linebacker core. Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree with that. No doubt about it. And Matt Patricia defense. Look, I don't know if Matt Patricia is going to be calling the defense next year. This was, I think, maybe a temporary solution. And clearly, it doesn't seem to matter who's calling the plays because they're not stopping anybody, whether it was Sean Desai or it was Matt Patricia. So maybe they did Sean Desai dirty, but I don't know. It's just so many problems to go around. We had a close game against the Giants. I'm assuming Brian Johnson. Sorry. Just said if we have a close game again versus the Giants, I'm suing Brian Johnson for emotional stress. Hey, if you can make that a class action lawsuit, I will hop on board with you, buddy. Because man, it is brutal. Right. All right. So anyway, if you're just joining us, this is the Ben Caplan Show. I do the show weekdays live here on TikTok, and I upload all my episodes to the YouTube channel after that. So please make sure you follow me here and you click the link in my bio to go to my YouTube page and subscribe to my channel there. That way you can stay up to date on all my new episodes. Also, since this is a brand new show, I am still looking for guests. If you would like to be a guest on my show, please reach out to me to thebencaplan@gmail.com. My only stipulation is that you are able to talk some sort of sports, whether it's Phillies, Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, Union. I'll even talk WWE if you want to, but shoot me an email. Let me know what you want to talk about. I'd love to have you on. Just talking Eagles today, just recapping the game, and I don't even know if I'm saying stuff that hasn't already been said by almost everybody else in the Philadelphia Eagles world, in the NFL universe. It's just that the Eagles are bad. They do not look like a Super Bowl contender. They don't look like a team that's going to get out of the first round of the playoffs. I don't know how everyone else feels about it, but that's pretty much how I feel about it. So if you feel differently, let me know in the comments, but I don't think you do. I started off by talking about the offense. I kind of got sidetracked, going into a rant about the defense. But Brian Johnson's play calling has been terrible. It's still predictable. It's, again, I sound like a broken record, but it is nothing but wide receiver screens and QB runs, and defenses have figured them out. They figured them out. So he's got to evolve, and he refuses to do that. I don't know why. I don't know why he's being so stubborn, but he is. Brian Johnson is a huge problem with the play calling. And, A.J. Brown apparently isn't talking to Nick Sirianni at all. He said the headline was A.J. Brown dissatisfied with Philadelphia's coaching staff. He should be. He should be dissatisfied with the coaching staff. I doubt he's the only one. Us as fans, we're dissatisfied with the coaching staff. This seems to me like a big coaching problem. I don't see players who aren't playing hard enough. I see players who are playing poorly, but I don't think there's a lack of effort. But the coaching, I think, is something that needs to change. And I don't know if there's enough time to change the coaching. Here, people are dropping me questions in the chat. Is there a secret playbook where we were going to surprise everyone in the playoffs? Has to be it. Yeah, I don't think there is. I don't think there is like a secret playbook for this team. They kind of seem like at this point of the season, it is what it is. You are what you are. And right now, the Eagles are a team that are confused on plays. They don't know which guys should be on the field. They're a team that can't finish. They're a team that can't stop any offenses. They're just a team with lots of holes and lots of problems, and there's unfortunately not enough time to fix them. They have one regular season game and one playoff game, and the competition is just going to increasingly get harder. And if you're letting teams like the Arizona Cardinals put up 35 points against you, what chance do you have against a team like the Cowboys, a team like the Lions, a team like the 49ers in the playoffs? Next to zero. So no, I do not think there's any sort of magic spell or potion or anything or secret playbook that the Eagles can do right now that's going to fix these issues, because there are just way too many of them. So yeah, appreciate the question though. Steve asks, when do we start blaming Nick? Start blaming Nick now. He's the head coach. He's responsible for all this. He's the one who hired Sean Desai. He's the one who put Matt Patricia. He made the change up and put Matt Patricia as the defensive play caller. He's the one who made Brian Johnson the offensive coordinator. So it all starts with him. And it's weird too that Nick Sirianni as the head coach hasn't said anything to Brian Johnson about the amount of QB runs and wide receiver screens. If the entire viewing universe, like that, by that I mean myself and all of us fans who are watching the Eagles every single week, and the rest of the NFL who are just football fans, can predict the amount of quarterback runs or wide receiver screens you're going to do, why aren't you doing anything about that? Why aren't you talking to Brian Johnson saying, hey, maybe cool it with these wide receiver screens, maybe cool with these QB runs? What else can I say? We need some sort of hype man or somebody to get the locker room. This is honestly atrocious. I don't think it's a hype deal. It's just a bad play calling deal. It's a bad play deal. It's just, I don't know if I don't think it's because of lack of effort. I think the Eagles are trying, but I think they're playing poorly. I think they're making bad decisions. I think they're being coached poorly. So they're up for the games, but they're not finishing the games. It's the second week in a row that the Eagles go out, get a big lead, and let the other team just hang around. And it's just, it doesn't bode well for the playoffs. Nick Sirianni had us looking like clowns since he was going off in the KC tunnel post game. I don't know. I mean, they do look like clowns. They don't look good. Um, but I don't think it's because he was going off in the KC tunnel post game. I mean, I think the reasons we all like Nick Sirianni is for the reasons he's doing stuff like that when they win a big game on the road against Kansas City. But conversely, we don't like when they're losing. Those quirks, those foibles he has aren't so endearing anymore. Um, okay. Sirianni call the offensive plays week and see if he gives us a spark offensively. Sorry. So Tommy says Sirianni should call the plays. Let me try that again. Tommy is saying Sirianni should call the offensive plays week 18 and see if it gives us a spark offensively. He used to call the plays, but wasn't he really? He was really bad at the play calling, so he had to give that up. And that's part of the reason maybe why the Eagles' offense was so good last year, because Nick Sirianni wasn't calling the plays. So I don't know if Nick Sirianni calling the plays is really the answer that we need. But could it be any worse than Brian Johnson? At this point, I don't think so. But I don't think Nick Sirianni long term should be the play caller. That's just my opinion. Let's just say the Ben Caplan Show. It is the Ben Caplan Show. Appreciate the comments. By hype man, I mean like someone with a new system of play calling. We need a new Shane. Yeah, I think the Eagles are going to need a new offensive coordinator. I'd be surprised if Brian Johnson is still the offensive coordinator next season. But at this point, he's the offensive coordinator for the rest of the season. And I don't think that's changing. They already made the change on the defense. They don't want to change coordinators on the offensive side. But I'd be surprised if he's the offensive coordinator again next year. He has not done a good job at all with the play calling. All right. We should run a QB draw downs 1 through 3 before punt. I mean, but that's what they're doing. I mean, that's his entire offense. He's like, I play a lot of Madden online, and sometimes you'll play these people who you can tell they aren't very good because they only run about 4 or 5 different plays the entire game. That's Brian Johnson. He's only running like 4 or 5 plays the entire game, and teams are figuring it out, and it's incredibly frustrating. Sin says his shenanigans were really cute until we got exposed. Now we look like clowns. You're not wrong. The shenanigans of Nick Sirianni, everybody loves. Everyone loves when he's high-fiving fans and he's screaming and he's pumping his chest and he's real fired up. That's all good and well, when you're winning. When you're losing 4 out of 5, and especially 2 of them at least, to really inferior teams, you're a little less endearing to the fan base. I would agree with that. Steve says, so why is there not a defensive mind coach either? Well, that's what Sean Desai and Matt Patricia are supposed to be, the defensive coaches. They're both doing very poorly at their job right now. But honestly, I don't know if I think we all thought the talent on the defensive side was a lot better than it was, maybe, because now they're just kind of looking old and slow and just definitely less playmaking ability. So that is also part of the reason why this defense is so bad. Don't get me wrong, the defensive play calling, the defensive scheming is a big part of it, but I think we all overestimated the amount of talent on this defense. Then you add in the injuries on top of that, which you don't want to make excuses. You don't want to say injuries as an excuse, but the defense looks a lot different now than it did at the beginning of the year. But again, this is all part of it. This is all part of why things are going so poorly for the Eagles right now. Let me see. Sports Radio was comparing Nick to the Chip Kelly era. Ooh. Look, so Nick Sirianni has taken the Eagles to the playoffs 3 times in a row. That's really good. We can't overlook that, how hard that is to continually make the playoffs. So no, I'm not going to say this is like the Chip Kelly era, because the Chip Kelly era started off with Chip Kelly tried to instill a brand new way to play offense that was super fast and super quick. And at first it worked. It got the Eagles the NFC East, but they lost in the playoffs to the Saints in round 1. And that was with a Nick Foles led team. The next year, I think they still won 10. They won 10 games, but they didn't make the playoffs, which is really crazy to think about. So, usually you win 10 games, you don't make the playoffs. But it was the year after that. which was just awful because by that third year, teams had really figured out that type of offense, and it just wasn't working anymore. And and they gave Chip Kelly complete control of picking the personnel. Remember how Howie Roseman? He was basically fired. They moved his office all the way down to the other side of the building. They gave Chip Kelly complete control. They didn't do that. Nick Sirianni doesn't have complete control of the personnel. Howie Roseman's still making the personnel decisions. So that's a little different. So yeah, I don't think this is like the Chip Kelly era. Here we go. Why not? Revenue says Sirianni's arrogance has caught up to him. Maybe. Maybe it's not, because what he's doing right now isn't working, and they're not really changing things up on the offense with the Brian Johnson play calling. If you're just joining me, I've been ranting for a lot of this show about the QB runs, the wide receiver screens, like Brian Johnson's inability to change, to evolve his play calling. So it's frustrating. From a Lions fan, I wouldn't trust Patricia with anything, but y'all seem to like him. I don't blame you. He was a terrible head coach for the Lions, but when you say y'all seem to like him, who is y'all? Do you mean like Eagles fans? We don't like him. No one was ever like, we need Matt Patricia making the play calls on the defense. Nobody said that once. It just kind of happened, and we were all just like, all right, we'll see how he does, and hasn't really worked out well so far. Let's see, got any more comments here? Sirianni with bad players will get exposed to an average coach he is. I mean, but you can say that about any head coach. Look at Bill Belichick. He's not, he apparently is nothing without Tom Brady. So a coach, I don't care how good of a coach you are or who the coach is. If you don't have good players, if you don't have talent, you're not going to win. You need to have the talent. And that was another, and going back to Chip Kelly, actually, that was another problem with the Chip Kelly era. Chip Kelly was such a, he was an arrogant person. He was such a believer in scheme over players that he got rid of all the Eagles' good players. He got rid of LaShawn McCoy. He got rid of Deshaun Jackson. He got rid of a bunch of playmakers. And because he thought his scheme was just so brilliant and was just so great, it didn't matter who the players were. Well, Chip Kelly, it did matter. It did matter. It's crazy, right? You get rid of your best wide receiver and your best running back, and you're not the same team anymore. Oh my goodness. So yeah, that was also a Chip Kelly problem. Oh yeah. Kim said he did Deshaun Jackson so dirty. He did do Deshaun Jackson real dirty. Real dirty. I see tons of Eagles fans were defending the move to put him when Lions fans were saying no. That's referencing the move of making Matt Patricia the defensive play caller. I don't think it was that the Eagles liked Matt Patricia. The Eagles fans were in love with Matt Patricia making play calls on the defense. It was that Eagles fans were so sick of Sean Desai, like anything else was better. It was more excitement about Sean Desai not making the play calls anymore. And to me, it's kind of the same with Brian Johnson. Like, I don't want him making the play calls anymore. I don't think they're going to make a change. They're not going to change another coordinator or another play caller this late in the season. But man, it was just awful. Chip traded away literally everyone and put us in a slump. Macklin, Deshaun, Vic, McCoy. Well, Vic had that one good year under Andy Reid, and that was kind of it for him. But yeah, he got rid of all their playmakers. I'm not disagreeing with you there. Okay. I think Eagles fans just knew they needed to change it. Yeah, Kim, exactly. I think Eagles fans just knew there needed to be a defensive change. It wasn't like we need Matt Patricia. No one was lobbying or carrying the torch in Philadelphia for Matt Patricia to be the play calling. He was just the guy that got named. He was just the guy that got named, and we were all just excited that it wasn't Sean Desai anymore. Yeah, I'd be happy with any change to the offensive coordinator. At least go down swinging. Yeah, maybe. I think the Eagles are still trying to present this illusion that their organization is not in chaos right now and there's nothing wrong. And there's like, oh, nothing to see here. And a move like that would signal what we already know is that, yeah, they are in chaos, but I think they're worried about the optics. So they're not going to do that. Makes sense. Just folks defending a decision. Yeah, I agree. Man. Woo! So we're getting a lot off our chest today about that Eagles-Cardinals game. If you're just joining us, Thank you so much. This is the Ben Caplan Show. This is my very first show of 2024. I do this show every day, weekdays here live on TikTok, and I post all my old episodes to my YouTube channel. So please make sure you follow me here and you go click the link in my bio and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you stay up to date on all my videos, all my content, and all my new episodes. We're going over the brutal loss to the Arizona Cardinals. And if you want to join in on the conversation, please leave me a comment. I will get to it. And let's just say this is the Ben Caplan Show. Am I right, boys? You're right. I mean, it's there in the title. So please make sure you like and follow me. Anyway, what did I want to talk about? So I keep getting sidetracked. Let's start with the Brian Johnson play calling. And I'm so mad about the Brian Johnson play calling. I haven't even got to talk yet about that really the second to last Eagles offensive series. The one that started with the Arizona Cardinals onside kick, which, by the way, the Arizona Cardinals were so confident that they were going to go down and score another touchdown on the Eagles. They were like, yeah, let's do an onside kick. It doesn't even matter if the Eagles get the ball back, if the Eagles get a short field. And I'm sure they weren't even concerned if the Eagles scored a touchdown. They knew they were going to get the ball back at some point and drive back down the field and score a touchdown. So what does that say about how bad your defense is, that a team is so confident that they're just going to score? They'll try an onside kick with 5 minutes left when they didn't need to. Oh, man, it's just really bad. But anyway, so there's the false start penalty, and then the Eagles forgot how to play football. First of all, they didn't know which personnel needed to be on the field for that series. When it was 1st and 20, they're like, you can see, like the players like, should you go? Should I go? Should you go? Should I go? I don't know. What are we doing? How is it this late in the season and you don't know who should be on the field for which plays? So that's just embarrassing, and that goes back to a coaching problem to me. That is a coaching problem. And it doesn't look like a team that has their shit together, honestly. So there's that. And the play calling. QB run with Jalen Hurts, of course. Of course it is. And so you say to yourself, all right, they tried it once, they got out of their system, and they got what, 3-4 yards on it? So you think hopefully that's good enough, maybe they'll throw a pass down the field. No, they do another QB run with Jalen Hurts. Why? Are they scared to throw the ball with Jalen Hurts? To me, that may signal that they're scared to try a downfield pass with Jalen Hurts. And then the kicker, on top of it all, it's 3rd down. They don't know what play to call. They don't know what they're doing. They're confused. So they have to waste their second time out of the second half to get a play in because the coaching and the players were so confused, they didn't know what the play call was. And what do they call out of that timeout? A wide receiver screen, a freaking wide receiver screen. And not to AJ Brown, not to Devontae Smith, not to DeAndre Swift, not even to Dallas Goedert. No, you throw a wide receiver screen to Kenny Gainwell? Kenny Gainwell? Why? You have 2,000-yard receivers on your team and a 1,000-yard rusher on your team, and you have a top 10 tight end on your team. As much as I hate the wide receiver screen, if it was one of those guys, you could at least say, all right, at least it was one to their top targets, to their top playmakers. But no, Brian Johnson calls a play to Kenny Gainwell. A play, by the way, in which Devontae Smith rolls his ankle and gets hurt. And we're all holding our breath on that. So this all goes back to the play calling. It all goes back to Brian Johnson. I am so sick of him. I am so done with him. He is just making my blood pressure rise day after day. And, it's just bad for all of our mental health to have Brian Johnson calling these plays. I think it's impossible for him to go through a game without calling at least 5 QB runs and 5 to 10 wide receiver screens. It's just impossible. It's the only thing he knows. Let me know what you think in the comments about Brian Johnson's terrible play calling. And then just that series, that final series overall, where it's a false start, then it's a QB run. They have to burn a timeout because they don't know what they're doing. And then out of a timeout, it's a wide receiver screen to Kenny Gainwell. I mean, I think we all saw that clip of that one woman standing up screaming, "What the hell are you doing?" She was all of us. That woman was all of us, because that's what I was screaming, at least. Really? What are you doing? That's your play? Those were your plays? You're trying to score a touchdown here. You're trying to win a game. It looked like you're playing for a field goal. Ugh. Anywho. Um, let's see here what we got here. Lots of comments. Appreciate you guys joining along in the conversation. If you want to join, please make sure you leave a comment. If Brian Johnson was fired, who do you want the offensive coordinator to be? I don't know. I don't know enough about the NFL coaching ranks about who should take over if Brian Johnson is fired or who should do the play calling. All I know is that from what I'm seeing from the 2023 Eagles, the 2023-2024 Eagles, that Brian Johnson is not a good play caller. That Brian Johnson needs to be relieved of his duties after the season. That's what I know. Not a team the Cardinals thought they could. The Cardinals thought they could score. I mean, the Cardinals knew they could score. I mean, that's why they called that onside kick, because they weren't scared. They were probably thinking, well, look, if we don't get it, it's a low percentage play. Don't worry. We're getting the ball back. We're going to score. That's how confident they were. And they were right. They time after time, they just drove down the field. Eagles had no answer. It's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. Kim says, so sloppy. Yes, very sloppy. The Eagles are exposed for not being the Eagles that they put theirself as. I mean, yeah, their defense is bad. Their offense is bad. Their coaching is bad. They're exposed. The Eagles are being exposed week after week. You are not wrong. Bad coaching, bad plays, choking now. And yeah, what's so frustrating too is that they're not finishing. Again, this is another game. The Eagles had a lead in the fourth quarter and could have won, but they didn't. And it's the third time they lost a fourth quarter lead against a team under 500. The first was against the Jets, then it was the Seahawks, and now the Cardinals. And this might be the worst one. The Cardinals ran just all over them. 200 plus yards. I thought the Eagles were supposed to be a good defensive run team. Right? The Eagles. Their opponents are, I don't know. They're 11th. They're now 11th in rushing defense. They were top 10 before that Cardinals game. Yeah, here we go. Comment says, is it possible we need to calm down though? We are 11-5. No, Kim, I don't think we need to calm down. I think we are justifiably angry and justifiably venting our frustration. When you're letting a 4-12 team put up 35 points against you, the Eagles couldn't get the Cardinals to punt one time. Think about that. The Cardinals did not punt one time. The Cardinals' one defensive mistake against the Eagles was really just a miscue with Kyler Murray and his wide receiver. He tried to audible, the wide receiver missed the signal, and Murray threw to the wrong spot, and the Eagles got an easy interception. Granted, a great return, 99 yards, but that was the one bad play the Cardinals had. The Eagles couldn't do anything else the rest of the day. So when you're letting a team like that drive at will down the field time after time after time, it doesn't really give you a lot of confidence that the Eagles are going to be able to stop anybody in the postseason, especially when the competition spikes way up. It's going to be way better than the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm not calming down. I am justifiably upset. I think, if you're calm, that's good for you. I envy you a little bit, but this is how I feel, and I'm gonna speak my truth. All right. However, the Birds have a playoff game coming up. The Birds do have a playoff game coming up, but Francis, can you really tell me that you think this is a team that's getting out of the first round of the playoffs? I don't think they are. They do not look like a team that can win a playoff game right now. Last week, I was saying, to me, the Eagles' ceiling was winning a first-round home playoff game. If they could get a home playoff game, they could win that game. Now, the Eagles aren't getting out of the first round. I do not believe the Eagles are getting out the first round. Prove me wrong, Eagles. Prove me wrong. But they have shown me nothing since Thanksgiving that they're a team that can make a serious playoff run, a serious run for the Super Bowl. That's not happening. Sorry to be Mr. Negadelphian today, because I try to be Mr. Positive, but it has been very difficult lately. Do you think the defensive struggles are due to play calling or playing poorly? Both. I think it's both. I think the schemes are not good, and I think I don't think I know. I see with my eyes. The Eagles are taking bad angles when chasing down runners. They're not tackling well. Fundamentally, they're playing poorly, and I think that is coaching. I think that falls back on coaching, but I also too think that initially we all maybe thought we thought the talent level was higher than it actually is on this team. The talent isn't as good as we thought it is. And even when Avonte Maddox comes back, which he came back he came back this past week, it made zero difference at all that Avonte Maddox was on the field, right? Right? I mean, if anything, they should have held him back because it made zero difference. So, yeah, I think it's both. Kim says she's definitely not calm, just throwing out there that we get tunnel vision and there's plenty of good teams with terrible losses. Yeah, but Kim, everybody probably has a bad loss or multiple bad losses, but it's not that these losses are bad, it's that they're bad and they're happening now towards the end of the season. Like towards the end of the season is when you want to start to see your team gel and really come together and start to play better. Like it seems to me as the season gets deeper and deeper, the Eagles are playing worse and worse. So they're not getting any better week over week. And other teams you see, they look like they are getting better. It looks like they are improving on things. The Eagles they're not fixing the issues they have, and there's more issues piling on top of that week after week. At least that's what I'm seeing. I don't know about you all. I'll be rooting like hell for them to win. Yeah, Francis, of course. I'm going to be rooting for them too. We're all going to be rooting for the Eagles to win. Of course, we want them to win. But I'd be naive to sit here and say, well, I think the Eagles are going back to the Super Bowl because they're not. They do not have that look. Their defense clearly does not have that look, and their offense is too. I don't want to say streaky, but it's predictable. They clearly have problems putting teams away at the end of games. The Eagles were up 21-6 on the Arizona Cardinals, and they couldn't beat them. Man, freaking Arizona, man. First the Diamondbacks, now the Cardinals. Ugh. What's your best guess for game 1, Bucks? I hope it's the Bucks. If they have to play on the road, I hope it's the NFC South team. The Eagles have already beaten them, so maybe that's good. But I don't know. If they were to lose, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I don't know. Let's just see if the Eagles can get through the final game of the season at New York. Chase sent me a hand hearts. Thank you so much. Hey, if anybody else wants to send me some gifts, I'll gladly take them. Also, too, if you're just joining us, this is the Ben Caplan Show. I do the show daily, weekdays here on TikTok. And I upload all my old episodes to YouTube. So make sure you please follow me here and you click that link in my bio and you subscribe to my YouTube channel. We're venting our frustrations with the Eagles' loss against the Cardinals. So if you want to join in the conversation, please make sure you leave a comment. I will make sure to respond. Oh man. So let's actually touch on the playoffs and what is to come. It seems to me like the most likely scenario is the Eagles will play the Bucks week 1. Because look, the Eagles can still win the division, but they need Dallas to now lose to the Commanders, and I don't think the Cowboys are losing to the Commanders next week. So even if the Eagles win, it doesn't matter. And plus, on top of that, the Bucks are playing the Panthers, which are terrible, and whose owner threw a drink on somebody. Did everybody see that, by the way? So it looks like they're most likely to play the Bucks. Look, the Eagles already beat Tampa Bay once this year. It was like their one good win of the season. Can they do it again? Sure. Yeah, in theory, yeah, the Eagles can beat Tampa Bay again. I don't think they're going to. And I don't think anything next week is going to show me anything different. The defense continues to get worse every single week. The offense just gets more predictable every single week. Plus, Tampa already played Philly this year, the Bucks aren't as good as the Cowboys, but look what happened the second time the Cowboys got a chance at the Eagles. They ran the Eagles out of AT&T Stadium. So this is going to be Tampa's second look at the Eagles. So I don't know. So I don't think it's going to go well. As of now, I'm saying the Eagles lose in the first round of the playoffs. Hey, a lot could happen in 2 weeks, but we'll see. We will see. All right. So that's actually going to do it for me tonight. This was actually really good for me. Get some stuff off my chest. I'm really happy I was able to speak with you all. I appreciate everyone who tuned in. Again, I do these shows every weekday live here on TikTok, and I post all my old episodes to YouTube. So please make sure you follow me here on TikTok. You click that link in my bio, and you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will be back at it tomorrow. Going to be talking more Eagles for sure. And please make sure if you have any questions for me in the meantime, shoot me an email to thebencaplan@gmail.com. And have a great night, everybody, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.